Okay, guys, Bruce back at you with Misty and Mister. So this is kind of important, and this is exactly what happens when your underlying takes off in a big move up, which BTC has been doing. Um, so they're all experiencing this to various degrees, right? I think Misty's doing the best. Coney and Ybit's like in third place because it just can't keep up with BITO either. Even though BITO is a derivative on BTC, it's a direct futures play. Um, so it's not particularly good. It's better than not being in an income fund, but obviously the underlying is outperforming. But when you're in Misty, previously your choice, just like NVIDIA with NVIDIA, you had a very expensive stock, so a 10 for 1 will help, and certainly a 10 for 1 on MSTR. So come August 8th, we'll all be better off there. And there's not quite as many abilities to go long. Several funds, I think Defiance has got one coming out. Um, Granite, if they don't have one, they may have a bearish MSTR, which you don't want to be anywhere near that at the moment. There'll be a time. So one of the challenges is getting owning the underlying. I mean, and obviously it's doing much better. Look at this red here, right? This means that it's outperforming the underlying. When you see green, typically you're seeing a flat to down. This whole last month, when I summed it up from X date to X date, MSTY outperformed MSTR. Well, that can happen for a while. So you collect your income and you're doing okay. That's what income funds do. They're built to handle a slight up, a flat, and a slight down environment and collect you income. And especially on these high IV ones, they can collect good income, as you've all witnessed with Misty. I love Misty. I own more, larger percentage of Misty than anything else in YIELDMAX. Um, because I'm bullish on BTC is the main reason. So when it goes down, I buy more. I didn't on this particular run down because I own so much collectively, YBIT, BITO, Coney, and Misty. So I just didn't feel like putting more in. I have it in other places. So what happens is we're capped. I mean, it's just plain and simple logic. Most of you figure out. I had some good comments about, several people said, Bruce, I get it. You've taught me a lot. I even own some of the underlying now, and I smile when we get capped. And that's exactly right. But I do understand many of you aren't active investors. You're not out writing your own option. You're not out trading in and out of other vehicles. Like one of the ways that you can participate with Misty is you can go out and buy a 2x BTC, right? And if I can pull it up, I don't have it in front of me, but go out to ProShares. I think it's BitX or BitU. One of them is bullish and one of them is bearish. Let me pull it up. Just so I can explain to you guys while we're here. Because I hate seeing people. Yeah, so BitX is the 2x, BITX on Bitcoin. So when you see an impulse move up and you want to participate and you don't want to go buy a $1,600 MSTR stock, then you simply go out and buy, in my opinion, when you're bullish, why buy a single 1x? Why buy BitO, right? So so I'm looking at BitX and let me show you guys what I'm talking about. So here's the chart on BitX, right? Up 5.63. Where were we? 2.79. Now, if you go to BitO, it would have been close to the 2.79, maybe 2%, right? Oh, it actually did better. Okay, 288. Um, and that's what happens. That's how you get the leverage that you can't get from your income fund. Okay. And there'll be some MSTR 2Xs that aren't out yet that'll be there. But again, Granite may have one. I've got to do a whole video on all the leverage plays, and I'll cover a whole sector, and that'll be a video in itself. Um, so my point is, it's not bad, but if this continues, you're going to get the same results here. It's not like the fund managers can go out and write. They say 5 to 15%, but you look at what they're writing, especially when the volatility had slowed down and the IVs were down. I mean, you don't have a month like 6.93 where Misty outperforms MSTR. If MSTR is doing anything, it's not. It was trending down on a chart, right? Well, things that go one direction for a while typically change. Nothing is static, not in the stock market world. So you're now seeing that. So I'll get to the point here and share with you guys. So a 3.29 and a point 0.5, right? So we didn't nobody really bought into the fund because they've seen it jump up from 22 to 28. So no shares. So here we are. It's not all negative. It's just not super positive. Don't get all excited because you see MSTR. You don't own MSTR, right? You're just getting income from the options. And that boat anchor is still being drug along with the synthetic. The synthetic is a pure long play on MSTR. They buy a call, sell a put. Unfortunately, in these super bull runs, they've got that thing called a covered call strategy. And that's what it is. It's a strategy to cover the long position to try and get income to pay out, because last I checked, yield max is exactly what it sounds like, yield maximum. They're an income fund, not a growth fund. Okay, that doesn't mean that Misty can't move up to $40. And guess what? If BTC keeps on running and calms down and goes back to 2 or 3% a week or even flat, Misty is going to make some great strides. It's just in a big move. And once we're capped, right? It doesn't matter. This is 2.79. We got no room for growth except on the long side, but the whole long side gets pulled back by the weekly calls that are already capped for that week. That's the issue, guys. All right. But again, it does its job. At this point, there's nothing really that the fund managers are doing wrong right now. So I'm not beating up on them. I'm just telling you like it is. Okay, so let's jump into weekly. See, they're all in one basket. So if anything was done wrong, they could have gone out a little further with a part of it. But they weren't going to not get capped, not with a 15% run on Monday. Okay, it wasn't going to happen. Even if they wrote 15%, they would have been capped with the 2% today, 2 point whatever it was, 5. So if you're an active investor, need to deploy other techniques. And I try to talk, that's why I brought up the BitX chart, right? Because right now it's the easy one to do. There will be better ones. Excuse me. Okay, so it was 4.17 when it was written. It's almost 13% out of the money now. So the further it goes, the more it costs us. And so the more we go up, the better our synthetic does, but it's eating away at any of the synthetic gains. So guess what? We're not gaining much, right? I'm happy the stock's going up at all. And there will be some money and so forth. So 1664, 28.9, just to show you all in one place. So where do you get the good stuff? You get the good stuff here, right? So who cares about cash at this point? So what's your synthetic? It's growing, guys. It's almost 29 million. Look at this. I finally put on here last 4 days and synthetic value. I mean, we've gone from 4 days ago from losing almost 48 million to gaining 29 million. Well, guys, that's like 76 million delta, the difference between the loss and the gain. That's pretty impressive. 76 rounded. So, but look at this. We got a 50, we collected 11 million, and I'm going to go to payouts and show you. And now to buy it back is 53 million. Yeah, there's a little bit of time premium, but not even probably, it's probably 2 million or less. So if it stayed flat just like this, you probably are going to lose 51 million. But it's probably not going to stay flat. I don't know. I'm showing 65.8 and as high as 66 earlier. It's actually the second 65,995. And I suspect Bitcoin's got several, right, with what happened in the assassination attempt and knowing that that candidate is sort of pro crypto and he's made that clear. Not that the other side is anti crypto. I just think he was smart enough to say that he's pro crypto. And again, people chase votes. So I never talk about politics. I'm just talking about what happened over the weekend that in turn can add a flavor of bullishness to crypto. Crypto was due to move up based on the German government being done selling. But maybe that bullishness is getting that political backing additionally. Whatever, we're happy to see it, but understand when it runs too much too fast, these income funds aren't going to keep up. It's better that it's moving up than keep moving down. So I'll say that, but if you think you're up 15% on Misty, we can only wish, right? We bounce off the bottom pretty well. Okay. So we're not going to have massive cash. I think we'll get up to a couple bucks this month. I love having a couple dollars on Misty. You know, it's by far my biggest position. And kudos to you guys that bought some when it went down. Remember, if you're bullish on the underlying, you have to take advantage of low prices when they come. Just put a GTC out there. For those of you that don't do options, that don't buy other, bullish factors, if you're not sure, hang an order out there. If you've got the cash to buy it, okay, don't go crazy in your margin account. But say you want to buy some Misty and it's at 28 and you can't watch it all the day and you're at work or whatever. I mean, nowadays with mobile and everything else and the Robin Hoods and all the places, just hang a low, I call them low ball orders. Put a GTC order in for how many shares you'd like to be at, 23, 22, some super low ball price. You never know when something's going to drop and you're going to get filled, right? And so that's one method. I have a whole nother method of selling puts, but again, not everybody has option capability. So that's all I want to say on this is that's what's going on. That's why you're hurt, right? So we closed at 28.19. That says we're 3 cents cheaper than the NAV. So no shares were bought. So looking at payouts doesn't really help us a lot other than knowing we have 28 million. Well, what's 28 million? Well, 28 million on paper is $2, right? Not quite $2. This would have to be an even 14, but close enough. So we've got $2 in paper value, but don't forget we've also got $53 million we need to spend to buy back this, and we're showing this 11 million gain here. So that $2 we have on paper may be what we need because all this may get wiped out. And if Bitcoin keeps running, we're still going to keep doing here. The best thing for this fund is for it to pull back closer. But again, we lose some of the 28 million, but we have to buy back for less, right? So the thing where people say these YIELDMAX funds can never do what the underlying does and it's capped at a 15% gain, well, they mean on a weekly. And the reality is it can be capped on a 5% weekly. but at least we reset every week, right? We get a new opportunity come Friday. And let's see how it plays. And if you do this long enough and frequent enough, you go back to collecting income. And nothing's going to go flying. I don't think this is the run in a month where we're 100. Who knows the reality? But it doesn't feel like it yet. But let's see. Remember 70, 73, 73, 74 is the all time high. But just getting on that 70 shelf, that will be difficult to get through. But should it? Oh boy, we may be ready. Um, so just trying to tell you what you got here. So this is why, and also let me say this: nobody likes to hear it, and I'm not trying to be Chicken Little and rain on your parade. But at any point in time with these debt levels, we don't know where the market's going. I mean, these indexes could turn and go down 15%. I see a lot of volatility in my cycle guys around September. Can I tell you that's going to happen? No, but I guess I would ask you the question. Nothing wrong with chasing yield. It's nothing wrong with even going and buying some of these things on margin if that's what you want to do. But I do urge cautiousness for young and inexperienced investors. If all you've got is a little bit of money and you've thrown all your money in Misty and you've said, or NVIDIA, any of them, and you said, man, that's what I want. I can double my money. And you certainly can. It's proven over time that these high flyers go there. But just a word of caution. If you're all double down and you're on margin, all it takes is a 5 or 8% retracement in the market to scare you out, and out you go. Margin calls, all the rest. And when you're in a stock market, and we retrace significantly on these indexes, all stocks, the baby gets thrown out with the bathwater. I don't care if it's a high flying stock, a low flying stock. Margin calls create liquidity crisis and everything gets sold. So just be careful. I'm never going to tell you, especially guys that have a lot of money and we throw it at these high yield things and we have protective positions on and we have plenty of dry powder. That's not who I'm speaking to. Some of you are doing a fantastic job. It's the younger, less experienced investor who's just going for all the gusto and they're projecting out. We've all done it. I did it. Well, if I collect this much this week and this month, and all that. And they're looking at that as if it's going to go on for 15 years. It probably isn't, guys. I got news for you. Okay. It doesn't mean money isn't going to flow somewhere in the markets, but you cannot just assume that things stay. People ask me all the time, will YIELDMAX be around? Yeah. Hey, YIELDMAX isn't the one that's going to lose if the market goes down. Sure, they could have withdrawals and have left shares and bought, but they've built up enough of a name and have enough assets under management. They're going to be okay. Okay, so I'm not worried about the funds going out of business. They can also ship their gear into wherever the money's flowing in the market. There will always be some money in the market. But if you have a pullback, 15, 20% pullback, who does it knock out immediately? The super over leveraged who don't have any other capital and they're completely on margin, right? I get it. You're chasing a dream, but don't think that that dream, these market makers are smart, smart people. They know how to run stops. I've seen it, it's referred to as a slingshot sometimes. If they know, and oftentimes they do, that something is about to skyrocket, they may shove it down 10 or 15% just to knock retail out of it. So, and when they get out of it, it creates lower prices and they come in and they buy a ton of it and then it runs up. And you guys are sitting there going, man, all you have to do is go back and look at 2008. I mean, look at these times and don't think things can't happen. Again, I'm not Chicken Little. I'm not telling you. I don't see anything right now in the charts that indicate that, but oftentimes they come quick. Boy, I can't talk today, people. And it's an elevator ride down, right? It's a stair step up, but when it starts, it goes quickly. All right, guys, that's what I got for you. Just be careful out there, the younger, lower income people. Just be careful, is my final words. Okay, guys, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Go BTC. Okay, guys, bye.